We step into the world of big dreams, big moves, and big money. It's the Big Cheese Miami Recruiting and NIL Report with Manny Navarro. After 40 years, the Big Cheese remains dedicated to serving the finest Italian dinners, pizza, pasta, subs, and salads. All of their pasta is imported from Italy and cooked fresh every day. Visit BigCheeseMiami.com. Now, let's find out who's the Big Cheese the Miami Hurricanes are working on with insider Manny Navarro.
All right. Good morning to you, sir. How are you doing, my friend?
Good morning, my friend. Just, busy as usual. Got back from Nashville yesterday, and just been working like crazy, man, getting ready for this football season.
I was just talking about, because, Jordan Brooks was talking about, going out to Chicago and Detroit for 11 days. It's good to build team camaraderie. And I'm like, it's good fluff stuff. It's good for the listener and the fans to kind of, it's good material for a writer to kind of prop it up. But I was just talking about this, that, the Canes, like right now, the team a lot of the guys that are coming back from last year, that's how camaraderie is built, that your successes and your failures. Now, this is where you start to embolden yourself and say, okay, we're learning from all these things, and this is how we're going to get better. Those are the experiences. I was talking about how the Heat lose the championship and then come back, or Wade and Shaq come up short against Detroit and they get injured and all that, and then they have to come back to then, really win it, that year, and all that adversity where you're behind in the third quarter against Dallas and all that. That's the kind of shit that really builds the real camaraderie. The Panthers, it was year after year getting to the playoffs and then getting to the finals and then losing and then getting back to the finals and now winning it 2 in a row. To me, that's when teams build the real camaraderie. But the Canes of the 80s and the 90s, those teams had that camaraderie because they had already built it over the years from the successes and the Fiesta Bowl type failures. All that shit builds it up.
It does. And I think this is the first real group that has gone through a lot of stuff together. Let's not forget, Mario, this is entering year 4. He's had 14 players drafted since he took over. When he took over, there was only one guy that was picked, the 7th rounder, John Ford. That was Manny Diaz's, going away gift, was one draft pick. And 6 of the 14 guys that have been drafted were Mario guys he brought in via the transfer portal. So he's yet to have a high school recruit go through the entire sort of 4-year run with him, or even a 3-year run. This group, this 2025 team, is the first time all of those guys have sort of been through the fire together, right? Going through 5-7 and going through 7-6. And then last year getting the 10 wins, but having your heart broken at the end. And so to me, this is the first team that has actually gone through some shit together. And you see them, like, I think it was the first or second practice. All of those guys were posting videos of themselves. They slept in the locker room together. Like, a lot of those dudes that have been together 3 or 4 years, they've all got nice apartments. They've all got beautiful cars. They're all making a boatload of money. But they know going into this year, hey, something has to be different. Something has to change. And so they're like, well, let's sleep in the locker room. Let's get the whole team and get everybody to stay in the same, like summer camp, like that kind of thing. And so they did. And I think that shows you that maybe this group is a little different. And I think in college sports in general, it's hard because of the transfer portal to build that kind of camaraderie. But now that you have a nucleus, right, you've got the Wesley Basaints, the Ruben Baines, the Francis Maui Noahs, the guys that have played together 2, 3, 4 years now.
That's my point.
That's real stuff. That's real stuff. And I think hopefully for Miami, that equates to getting past what's troubled them the last 20 years and lifting them to places they haven't been in a long time.
Yeah, I think this is the season. I think it happens. And I think it happens because exactly what you're talking about. The building blocks are there, and now they're making the progress. Now the next step is winning those important games, the big games, crossing over to relevance, really, because
Yeah.
you've kind of the relevance you've lived off of is your past, not anything you've done lately, because you haven't done jack shit. You're still living off of Warren Sapp and Steve Walsh and Dorsey and all those people from the past. That's exactly what all those kids over the last decade have been living off of. They've been living off of the Canes past. Now you got a chance to kind of really say, okay, yeah, we finally have arrived, instead of being just the hated team that everybody loves to beat, and that's why your ratings are rocking always, that kind of shit. You kind of want to get the narrative to be a little different for the Canes.
Oh, and the opportunities laying right in front of them, right? I mean, you got a top 5 team in the opener. You've got, the Gators team that's ranked in the top 25. You play those 2 of your first 4 games are against nationally ranked opponents, right? Against programs that will put you in you win both of those home games. All of a sudden now people are looking at you different, because those are real opponents. Those are people that, are respected and are ranked. And I think that counts for something. And look, in the end, they got to win something. They got to win this league. They got to make the college football playoff. They have to take steps forward. Otherwise, it's just going to continue to be, well, he can't get the job done, right? When's he going to finally win something? But I think, when you take a step back and you look at this from a Goodyear blimp view, this thing has changed. He's changed it. He's put a lot of work and effort into making it look different physically up front at the line of scrimmage. He's changed the narrative over he can't recruit quarterbacks. I mean, Cam Ward just went number 1 overall. He's got another guy in Carson Beck that in my mind is going to be an NFL quarterback. So I think at the end of this season, whether Miami wins the ACC or not, I think they're going to be in the playoff. And I think they're going to be a team that everybody says, well, I think Mario really has them where they're supposed to be. And that's back in the conversation of competing for championships. And so we'll see what happens come December. But I feel good about the way this thing's going.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. All right, so how are they doing with the 2026 class right now?
Yeah, things have really, slowed down on the recruiting front. And I've explained to the listeners before, like, all these commitments happen over the summer, right? Like, all the kids, they want to get locked in. They want to have their NIL contracts. They want to have their, how much am I making out of the rev share? Like, all this stuff, all the best guys lock in. And to be honest with you, I mean, it wasn't a great sort of recruiting run for Mario like he's had in the past. He did better in previous years. They had, 10 top 100 players who visited campus that weren't previously committed to a school, and all of them committed elsewhere. All of them committed elsewhere. So they got 11 commitments over the summer. They have the number 10 recruiting class in the country, according to On3, number 12, if you look at 247. They got 22 commitments. But you and I have had this conversation many times. Like, you're going to start to convince the best players in your own backyard to stay home. You got to win something, because all the guys that are top 100 guys are going to places that have won something. Lamar Brown, the 5-star defensive lineman who came here, he's from Louisiana, committed to LSU. LSU won a national championship in 2019. Anthony Jones from Alabama, 5-star edge rusher. He went to Oregon. Oregon was 13-0 before they lost. They won the Big Ten, right? Derek Cooper, Hollywood Shaman, a kid in your own backyard that I thought was super important for Miami to land coming from. Making a boatload of money to go to Texas, but he's going to Texas because Texas has been in the national semifinals the last 2 years. So to me, like, everything is going at the rate it probably should. I think Miami last year should have won the ACC or been in the ACC championship game and made the playoff. They fell one step short of that because they had a terrible defense and things just fell apart. But I don't know that even that last year would have all of a sudden changed, convinced Derek Cooper to stay home. I don't know that Calvin Russell, the 4-star wide receiver, says, forget it, I'm going to stay home. I'm not going to go away. At some point, it's going to change, and I think the narrative will change and some of these kids will start staying, but they've got to win consistently and establish a consistency in the national conversation. And I think last year, so much of Miami's success was credited to Cam Ward, who rightfully so, I mean, went number 1 in the draft, played unbelievable, probably the best quarterback, one of the best quarterbacks they've ever had at Miami. And so, people want to see more. And I think that's why this season is so critical to Mario's success. And they got to win something and continue to keep rising.
Well, let's hope they're able to do it, my brother, because that would be actually pretty awesome if they're able to do that. All right. Oh, by the way, don't forget BigCheeseMiami.com,
Yes.
proud sponsor of our program, man. Gary does great work, and it started with Gary and Billy over 40 years ago. The hurricane memories are amazing in there. So make sure you visit them, 8080 Southwest 67th Avenue. Tell them that Big O sent you. They'll take care of you out there. Manny, tell me why Heatherman is going to be the difference maker there.
Well, you think about the greatest defenses in Miami history, right? Greg Schiano had a lot to do with the most recent group. You think back to the 2001 teams. Schiano was integral in all of that. And Heatherman coached for him at Rutgers before he went to Minnesota last year. And his style, Mario talked about this the other day, but you have different kind of teachers in sports, right? And I've told you, a lot of the kids that I cover, unfortunately, they don't pay a lot of attention in the film room, right? You don't have a lot of Jonathan Vilmas and super smart guys that are soaking in. They look at the sideline now. You go to the high school games, all of these guys are looking at what play am I? They're giving the hand signals from the sideline, right? And that's and it's like, what are you learning? What are you learning about defense? What do you know? Where's the IQ, right, of how to react? Miami's biggest problem last year, you go back and you look at the games where they were blowing coverages and guys were wide open. Communication. They were so bad at just understanding, hey, this guy's going in motion. That's why I pick up now. So they weren't switching right at the line of scrimmage, coverage duties and adjusting to what the other teams were doing. They were a step behind. Heatherman's strength ultimately is the fact that he's a great communicator. He knows how to teach these guys in bite-size, keyword, sort of language. Whereas I think Lance Guidry was, that Southern draw from Louisiana. I don't know if it just didn't go over the same, right, with the guys, what it was that he was trying to teach them. And so you've upgraded the talent in the secondary, which they had to do. I've been telling you for years now. They had, look at the track record. All those American Heritage kids that are in the NFL now, right? They were all leaving and going elsewhere. All the St. Thomas kids, they've gone to the transfer portal and addressed it. But I think Heatherman, the reason why he'll be successful is he comes from the Schiano tree, which Mario loves. Mario, obviously spent so much time with Schiano, and I think what he's teaching and the way that he's teaching it is resonating with these kids. And I think all of it together, that's why it's going to work.
All right. I mean, man, I think everything else is going to fall into place. And if you fix that problem, it's going to be a lot of fun. All right. You were in Nashville. I would imagine you were hitting the bars like I would be, checking out all the live music, right? Because that's why you go to Nashville. You don't actually go for fucking work, right? You didn't do that, right?
I wish I had listen. My boss at the Athletic.
What a disappointment, bro. He went to Nashville. You believe that shot? He went to Nashville with bands all over the place, and he actually worked. What is wrong with you, young man?
Yeah, I got to go back and just go for the country music and the bars. Definitely. I had a good experience. Let me tell you.
They got rock too. They play some rock. They play all kinds of. It's not all country. It's they got a little variety there on that strip. But I hear that strip that is like a bucket list for me. They just go out and hang out for a weekend in Nashville and just jam, dude. Just
I can tell you a lot of the young people that are working in scouting departments and are working for these universities certainly enjoyed it because they were kind of hungover each morning at these symposiums. But yeah, it was an interesting. Here's what I'll tell you. Here's the highlight.
They were like me at the combine 30 years ago.
Exactly. Right.
I get it.
I college football, man. Like people don't care. They just want to see the games on Saturday. I get it. You want to root for your favorite team. Who, what quarterback did we get in the transfer portal? That's all most fans care about. But the way this sport is changing, is ridiculous, dude. Like, it's become professional sports. It really has. And the conversations that were had about rev share, for the people who have not paid any attention, the NCAA essentially approved where now universities can directly pay athletes. And so you have a salary cap of 20.5 million for the entire athletic department. Most athletic departments are spending, I would say, 13 to 15 million dollars just on football. So you have 13 to 15 million dollars to work with, not including other NIL deals. But so much of what these schools are doing now in terms of splitting the pie is our best players are getting a big chunk of rev share, even the recruits, because you can actually sign high school recruits now to deals to basically lock them in to come into your program. And so this has all happened just in the last few months. And you've got all these people from the NFL that had NFL jobs, that were in personnel jobs. You have these lawyers, these agents, all of them are sort of converging on the scene here. And you have this interesting case where some people are getting 1-year deals. Some people are getting two-year deals. Some people are getting escalators in their contract where they get bonuses if they hit certain numbers. The bottom line is it's going to be absolutely fascinating in December when the transfer portal rolls around again, what happens and which schools are cash strapped, who made bad investments, who has dead money associated with players. And I'm like, that's what my job is now at The Athletic. Me and a couple of the other writers that were in Nashville, we're going to be tracking all this stuff. It's going to be absolutely fascinating to see who F's up with some of these deals and how bad it hurts them, and who is sort of cash strapped and can't fix their teams versus who made the smart investments on guys, got them on the cheap, right? And now can go out and sign extra guys to make their teams better. It has become Moneyball, bro. This thing has become Moneyball. You hear the GMs, you hear the scouts talking about it. We're going to just let this kid slide. Yeah, he's a good player for us, but the freshman is cheaper, and we think we can turn him into something great. And so the age of, hey, college football, come play for us, we're the winning pro, that's over. Everything is financial now, bro. This is the NFL junior. And I think it's going to be fascinating, though, because the NFL has 32 teams? How many teams do we have in college football making a boatload? 70?
Yeah.
Imagine if the NFL had 70. How hard would it be to win the NFL if you had 70 teams?
So that tells me there's a bigger chance that Bill Belichick will be an even bigger disaster than he was down the stretch with the Patriots.
Yeah. Nobody has any idea. And I think, we saw what just happened to Florida State, right? Where they went 13-1 and then they go 2-10.
Yeah.
That's going to be a lot more common, I think, in college football than you think.
Oof. Yeah. I don't know. In some of those traditional places, they won't be happy with those kind of ups and downs because they're not used to, that kind of stuff.
Look at UM basketball. UM basketball is a perfect example. Final Four. What were they last year?
Yeah. No. Yeah. No. Definitely. Yeah. But I mean, they're not a normal power. You know what I'm saying? Actually, what Larrañaga did throughout his whole stretch was overachieve. Let's be honest. I mean, the man was a magic. He was magic, So we'll see what Jai Lucas can do. We'll see what Jai Lucas can do, because nobody squeezed more blood out of a rock than Jim Larrañaga did than with the basketball program. And he didn't even have the resources that are coming in now that have been in, So what Larrañaga did is unheard of, dude. Especially for that program. Don't forget, folks, besides the Big Cheese, our Caneswear Miami Hurricanes report also has returned, and you can visit our friends at Caneswear. Use our code BIGO10. You will get 10% off there at Caneswear online or in person. And if you order over $99 online, you will get free shipping. And visit our friends at Big Cheese at 8080 Southwest 67th Avenue. Manny, what do you got going on in the Athletics so folks can check you out?
Yeah, we just came out with our transfer portal top 100 for the fall. Bruce Feldman, Sam Conn, and I talked to a bunch of GMs and player personnel types to to put that thing out and get some insights on why we think certain guys are going to be really good and maybe why some guys didn't make our top 100 list. So you can check that out. I'm going to have a feature on the University of Miami running, I think, early next week. If they didn't already run it, I don't even know what they run, bro. I turn in so much stuff all the time. I'm like, I get alerted when it's finally running, when it's finally being put out there. So I'm hoping.
Shit! I wrote that like 8 years ago. Oh, thanks. I'm glad you guys are posting it. You're catching up to my stuff now. All right, great.
Yeah, and I did bring back the Wide Right podcast last week, and I just did an episode yesterday with Roddy Jones from ESPN. Roddy and the ACC network crew were down there on Monday, and Roddy, I think, is one of the best analysts in college football. He played running back at Georgia Tech, super smart guy. Really knows.
He went to Georgia Tech.
Yes.
That's it. You actually have to hit the books at that place,
Super smart guy, super funny guy, friendly guy. And so we did a half-hour show yesterday that we recorded. I posted it yesterday afternoon. But if you want to check out his insights on the Canes and what he gathered from his behind-the-scenes sort of look, check that out as well.
You got it. Follow him on Twitter at Manny_Navarro and catch his work there at The Athletic. Manny, thank you, my brother. Have a fantastic weekend. We'll catch up on Tuesday.
All right, man. Take care. Good talking to you.
Thank you, sir. There you go. The great Manny Navarro and our BigCheeseMiami.com NIL and recruiting report.
You've been listening to the Big Cheese Miami Recruiting and NIL Report with Manny Navarro. At the Big Cheese Miami, they continue to purchase the same high-quality ingredients that the most expensive Italian restaurants use. The difference is they serve large portions at a family price. Visit the Big Cheese at 8080 Southwest 67th Avenue in Miami. Call 305-662-6855 or go to thebigcheesemiami.com. Go Canes!
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.